Okay, juniors, I'm going to do a quick review on chapter 4 and 5 for the quizzes. You should be able to take both quizzes. Chapter 4 is more on taxes, and most of the information is found in the book. But I'll be able to go over some stuff that I think is important that probably will show up on the quiz. Hopefully, you're taking the quizzes honestly. I know there's ways to find answers for these quizzes out there. Hopefully you're not doing that. Hopefully you're taking the quizzes honestly. But let's start with chapter 4 real quick. Chapter 4 is, again, all about taxes. As you know, tomorrow is actually tax day, but that has been postponed until later in the summer because of the coronavirus. But as it goes through here and talks about taxes, the most common way that most of you pay federal taxes is you have amounts withheld from your checks. So when you guys get your checks and you look at all the taxes that are taken out, that's probably the most common way that all of you pay federal tax. One of the things that you're looking for is this tax credits. Tax credits allow you to deduct from your taxes dollar for dollar. So it allows you, when you have tax credits, you're able to pay less taxes. So sometimes you're going to look at for as many tax credits as you can get. And then there's different types of taxes, and they're listed here right now, what I have on the screen. The purchases, when you guys go buy things, when you buy property tax. So let's talk about real estate. Real estate gives you the ability, so when you buy a house, you're able to use the interest you've paid on the real estate to get a deduction on your taxes. So when you're looking for things that are deductible, like number one, you're looking for anything to do with homes, your home equity line. One example is like if you have a high credit card rate, it would not be tax deductible. So your interest on your credit card is not tax deductible, and that's a pretty big thing. The next section here is different types of retirement accounts. So there's tax deferred, and these are 401. So anytime you have tax deferred retirement plans, they're known as a tax shelter, and that's what you're sometimes looking for to put money away so you can save for your retirements. So tax shelters are types of retirement plans. As you scroll through the PowerPoint, you learn a little bit more about what you can subtract. And it lists here like interest, what we just talked about, the mortgage interest, home equity loan interest. Those are things that you can deduct when you give money to charity, when you move, all those kind of things. As you had more dependents, those are actually exemptions as well. So then there's different tax rates, and you fall into different tax schedules depending on how much money you make. As we scroll down here, again, here's the tax credit part and the tax deduction. You should know the difference. And that's what this whole slide's about. So this is a slide that you should probably take a look at real quick. As we scroll down even more, there's tax breaks for different things in different parts of the country. Sometimes some may be solar related in some states that give you a big rebate, and other states will not. And that's the energy savings one. When we move there, this goes back to the April 15th deadline, and this is a W-2, which some of you that have had a job and filed for taxes have seen this before. And we'll get to the very end down here because the next few slides they're all about how you file taxes, and when we get back together, we'll go over that so it's a little easier to see for everybody. You want to scroll down to all right, there's two different things. There's called a legal way of trying to benefit yourself is called tax avoidance, and you do not want to do tax evasion. You see that sometimes with celebrities that try to evade paying taxes and then they end up going to jail. So you don't want to do that. Um, how you purchase different things, and one of the things here is on the 31st slide. We talked about the homeowners and home equity line. Sometimes your job related can be deducted, but also healthcare. Healthcare. Some of you guys have flexible spending accounts that allow you to spend your money for medical expenses or childcare. That's very important. And that's something to look for as a benefit of one of your jobs. And we talked about that when we were together, the importance of that. Then there's different tax deferred investments. One of the differences between a Roth IRA and a traditional regular IRA is the one offers 5 years tax free. Uh, After 5 years, it's tax free. So that's a big thing today. With you worrying about looking at different IRAs. Some of you probably participate. Your family participates in the 529 college savings plan. And then lastly, the 401k plan is a great retirement plan. It's offered by employers. Right. That's chapter 4. I'm going to do chapter 5 real quick. And if you give me a second, hopefully everybody's doing well with online schooling and all that. Chapter 5 is pretty quick. I feel like chapter 5 is probably one of my favorite chapters of this because it's stuff that deals directly with you guys and stuff that you've dealt with already in your life, and the importance of saving money, compounding, making yourself money. And all of you guys, I know from dealing with you guys for the year, like money is important to a lot of you. So chapter 5, a lot of chapter 5 for the quiz part will be pretty easy, to be honest. Most of you are pretty aware of this stuff, and when we've talked about it before throughout the whole year, the importance of having little things like a lot of you guys have debit cards. Debit card is really just transferring money electronically. So when you go to Rapid Fire or you go to Five Guys and you order a burger or a pizza and you pay for it, you just swipe your card, your debit card, and the money's just transferred from your bank instantly to that restaurant. That's just electronic transfer. And talks here a little bit about how people don't have accounts. They don't save money, and we talk about this a lot and how important it is for them to save money. Things to avoid: you should never do pawn shops, rent to own centers, payday loans. That side of stuff is very costly to you and can cost you a lot more money than you thought when you go in. Prepaid debit cards are not something that you probably want to use. There's big fees, and if you lose it, then you don't get to have any of the money. You should try to get a debit card through a financial institution. And here's this different ways you've seen how people pay for things when you maybe buy a bigger item. You get certified checks, cashier's checks. Sometimes you guys hear of money orders that you can get like at Speedway or the post office, that sort of thing. As we continue, we talked a little bit about checking accounts. A lot of this chapter talks about credit unions, and I feel like when we talked about the Day Air Credit Union, a lot of that pertains to this chapter. Membership for credit unions always continue to rise. People are trying to stay away from bigger banks. When you open a savings account at a credit union, because you're a member, it's called a share account. When you're looking for ways to make money in investing, you're always looking for compounding interest, and we've talked about that before. You're always looking for it to be, if you could find daily compounding interest, it allows you to make more money even faster. And daily compounding interest is something that you're always looking for. The rest of chapter 5 here talks about different types of banks. And again, I just spent a little bit of time on credit unions. Again, you're part owner of a credit union. You're not part owner of like PNC or Chase or Huntington Bank. So those are some of the differences. And there's now even online banks that you can do all your banking online. Depending on, you want to look for FDIC. FDIC insures the bank. If they are a legitimate bank, they'll have FDIC insurance, which protects you guys and your money that you have in the bank. There's You should do research in finding which bank is best for you and where you live. One of the things about seed savings, CDs, we've talked about CDs before. CDs aren't the most liquid things because you're putting the money in for a specified period of time, 6 months, a year, 18 months, 5 years, 10 years. And if you take the money out, you'll lose some of the value of the CD. So when we talk about CDs, that's what we're talking about. Demand deposits, that part right here is when you are able, demand deposits is like a checking account. Okay, so you put money in your checking account, which you probably do if you have received checks before or cash for your jobs, and you deposit it into your checking account, and then you can use it for whatever you feel necessary. And remember, your debit card is linked to your checking account. Okay, so if you don't have money in your checking account, it's hard for you to use your debit card. Biggest things is overspending, not having emergency funds. Remember, you're always looking at times to have liquidity so you can get to your money fast. We'll talk about that here in a split second. This is a check. This is the check number up here in this corner. This lower left corner, when you have a number, this is the routing number. And then right here is the account number. So that's how they know how to get the money out of which bank or financial institution. And this is the account number when it's listed. When you have a check, make sure you sign the back, which most of you do. Debit cards, we've talked about before. They're like a credit card. Remember, funds are taken immediately out of your account. You have a PIN number with them. Please don't share that with anybody. Right here is what's liquid is like a money market account, savings account that you have. Less liquid is a CD. And then there's things, U.S. savings bonds, which maybe you have from your family members have bought you them. They are exempt from taxes, which is nice and pretty straightforward. And again, liquidity is brought up again and again and again in this chapter. You can see the importance of understanding what it means to be liquid, and also compounding, which I know we've talked about before, and rate of return, which we talked about before when you're looking at retiring. Okay. And the end here talks about looking at different things. When interest rates are rising, what you should look for, and interest rates are falling, what you should look for. And then the last thing is called a truth in savings. When you ever sign up to accounts, you get truth in savings, which are disclosures about the costs of your account, the rates of your account that you're interested in, the payment plans, and all that sort of thing. All right, chapter 5, again, for most of you will be pretty straightforward and simple. Chapter 4 is definitely something you probably should flip through the book prior to taking the quiz. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope all of you guys are doing great. If you have any questions, we should now be all the way through chapter 5 in Finance 2450. So if you're missing anything, please just take a couple moments. You go back and take a quiz. I'll open it up or finish an assignment so that we're all done through chapter 5 at the end of this week. So thank you and have a great day.